Evening, everybody. We are live.
We are here.
Marital is in the building.
You always got to come on and prepare. We are up and moving after a few technical difficulties. So thank you so much for bearing with us.
Yes. So hopefully we're going to start seeing some people hopping on, saying hey, hey.
And along the way.
We are just so excited that it is first show.
Numero uno.
First Thursday. We did a little intro. What was it? It was before. It was the day before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, we just wanted to kind of explain the revamp, right? Again, we are your hosts to the Perfect Woman Show. I am Audie.
And I am Jena. I feel like we have to sing. I only have green tea tonight, not even coffee or anything. No wine, no coffee, just tea. So we definitely just wanted to, Audie, I know you wanted to jump in and say that we are a comedic show. We are all about laughing and giggling, and it's all around the show. Every week is going to be around womanhood and just bringing a little bit of comedy and laughter and giggles to the mix. So it's not so serious. And what are we going to talk about? Look at my nails. What are we going to talk about tonight, Audie?
So tonight, I'm so glad that you asked. Tonight, we are going to be talking about building a stronger relationship with God. Of course, like Jena was mentioning, indulging in the comedic side of womanhood and all things momming and adulting and professionalism and
wifing.
God stuff. It's all.
Or just getting your stuff together, whether you're single, married, dating.
Married. Every transition of life is welcome, is included. We invite everybody. We invite all women into this circle to strengthen the circle and to really just be able to lean on each other to grow in our friendships and our sisterhood. So to pinpoint that vital relationship with God that helps you to enjoy the comedic side and all of the ups and downs.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So tonight, topic numero uno.
We are prepared.
Building a relationship with God. Yes, we are building the foundation this evening. We'll start with our relationship with God. Essentially, what we're going to do is just talking about it. Of course, Jena and I, even though we were a little bit late, like what she said, with some technical difficulties, but we are here. We have our notes, and we are ready to chat it up.
We are. So get ready, ladies. Cheers. And we are ready for the comments. When you're ready.
Invisible drink. Yes. Well, so tonight we're going to... So tonight we're going to be talking about a whole lot of topics. Our stronger relationship with God. But what is one thing that might take us away from building that relationship with God? It's distraction. Distraction is something that can really pull you back from growing a stronger foundation with God, with others too. And there are multiple distractions.
And do you feel like it sounds like, I know we're going to go through the different topic areas of what distracts us, but I find in life, in all areas, it's so easy to get distracted.
Oh yeah, especially whenever, as a woman, whether you, whatever stage of life you're in, it is hard to really, like, for instance, today.
Throw it down, Mama. Throw it down. I'm ready.
Today I really felt like I sucked at being a mom because I was just fumbling left and right. I didn't get my daughter to her doctor's appointment in enough time. I missed my son's parent-teacher conference today. What else? Like, it was just
that last part of your Marco Polo. So that's what the other piece was. That's a key essential because I thought it was tomorrow. originally.
Right. I missed it today. So I thought it was tomorrow too. It wasn't. It was today. Crazy mess. But tomorrow's a new day. And those things, you know, if I would have let that kind of like hinder me in my relationship with God and just being who I am, it would be really sad. So I, again, found the comedic side to everything that happened this evening.
You can't go crazy about it, I feel like.
Right. So yes, distractions. We're talking about distractions tonight. And we have a plethora of, yep. Look at that. She's multitasking.
Distractions. This is what's going on.
Oh, look at that blue color.
Yeah, she picked it out. She needed some help.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were talking about distractions. I know one of the first areas we want to really focus in, and I know you're going to go into that, is like, and I'll give you an example on one of these guys as far as, I'll let you kind of take the lead on that.
So do we want to dive in?
What'd you say?
We're ready to dive in for
we are ready.
Do it. I am
doing it.
It's women.
It's happening here.
All right. So first topic for distraction is money. Money can be a huge distraction. Yeah, that almighty dollar can be a huge distraction. And there is a Bible verse that I was kind of researching and reading, and it's Matthew chapter 6. I pretty much shortened it. So what I pulled from it was, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So, you know, it's a beautiful verse because essentially it's just explaining to us that wherever you put your worth or where you put your treasure, that's where your greatest love will be. So, you know, if we can invest that, when we're talking about building a relationship with God, we can invest.
Right.
Look, I have my forehead.
You were talking.
And then when we're talking about money, it's the same thing. If we maintain ourselves financially responsible, you know, which is a topic when we talk about money, you know, there's a whole lot of clarity that comes behind that. But money being a distraction, essentially what I wanted to explain on that is just that, you know, money can be a distraction because you could think like, oh, well, I don't want to go to church or, you know, and get closer to God because I don't have any money. So, you know, I know that the church is going to expect a tithe or an offering and I just don't have it. Well, if that's what the church is asking, and that's pretty much it, then it might not be the best one to go to, because, you know, church should be a place where you can, you know, it should be an extension of your home. And more so than that, just that foundation of having that relationship with God is the key aspect to everything. So money can be a distraction and it can pull people away. I know the next topic or the next point that we were going to touch on as far as a distraction is marital concerns. And if for any of the ladies that are out there that are married, you know, there might be some things that you could take away from this, or you might be experiencing it right now. So Jenna, you want to just talk about that?
Yeah, so the two, I know when we were chatting before, was marital wise, you may not be on the same exact page if you have a partner or a spouse, and it's really deciding to take the lead and start taking action and kind of steps, whether that's attending church or community groups or just being proactive with at home doing devotionals, which we're going to get into some good resources. I feel like my screen's really close. So I think it's setting that example, whether it's if you're an individual or if you're in a family or if you simply have a spouse or a partner. It's really deciding what's important, what's the value, what are your priorities and intention, and really, you know, starting that consistent, because I can speak for myself, like starting that consistent routine and pattern, and we're going to kind of go into kind of scheduling yourself in that time alone with God and building that relationship and deepening that relationship. But it's going to spill. But that's the key piece, I would say, when it comes to relationships that might be of a distraction. Any other, before I go into the kid side of things and the challenges that I know I have experienced with our 9-year-old, was there anything else on like spouse or partner or anyone else that would be a distraction that you could think of?
Yeah, I can throw in my own personal experience. I'm skipping ahead a couple of decades, but within recently, I don't want to say rekindled my relationship with God, because it's always been there. It's just, again, in any relationship, it all matters on how much you want to water it.
Mm-hmm.
It will grow, and so I probably wasn't watering my relationship with God the way that I should have been.
Same here.
Mm-hmm. So like, as far as in the marital aspect, really making a focused decision to get back to church, to that love for God, and then also taking our children. My husband, who has been raised in church his whole life, not ready yet, and now this is going back a little bit, and now, as a family, we represent ourselves together, going to church, showing our children, but also, again, creating that individual time and relationship with God. So yeah, it is difficult whenever one person is going, because you feel that tug, and you feel like, when are they going to come? When are they going to hop on board? And it's just a matter of time. And I've always felt like, and I've done this for myself, instead of just like saying, it's great to invite them, but it's just like, or it's great to, say, hey, experience this relationship with me or whatever. But it's great to take the time to just pray silently, and just trust that, your other half will come along, and, will meet you where you are in your relationship, whether, wherever that is, where that lands. You said we're going to talk about the children.
Yeah, and real quick on the spouse piece, because I know your husband was raised, you said raised with the faith background in the church and that kind of process. And I would say sometimes the reason for distraction may be, I would say, not so much is the word arrogance, but more so if they've experienced negative feelings or attitudes towards no longer trusting, maybe they did when they were younger, and then they kind of fell off the bandwagon, or whatever analogy you used. And then I think it's, like you said, praying about it, allowing them that time. I know we talked about that before, is giving them that time and space for them to really, be
come around.
And come around is the word I'm looking for. So I wanted to mention that. So going on to the kids topic, I know when it comes to, I guess the first thing is some of the challenges that I know personally that I ran into is we've been good about, getting more consistent with prayer throughout the day. But the challenges that we had initially were when I would go with the kids to church, and my son would give me the moan and groan that no more. The moan and groan of not wanting to go, and just making it harder for me to even get out the door. So I know it's been helpful for my husband to motivate him, but again, it's like, it's important for you to go, and this is why, but I'm not yet ready, kind of a thing. But I would say it's definitely been helpful. We got the Purpose-Driven Life for Kids, and at dinner time, not only do we pray as a family, like we do a lot of things, just not in the church building, I guess you would say. So there's things I feel like in your home that you can do and implement with the kids. And I know we talked about that before. But the book that we have at the dinner table, it's like light and easy, conversational, and has a prayer and has a devotional for kids at their level, which even I'm learning stuff on more of like the foundational side of things, which has been fantastic. So I know that can be a distraction, but kind of what type of, I know I love when we bounce ideas of like, this is the challenge that I'm having, and what are some different options or ways of making it a positive or kind of getting out of this distraction area and into like solution mode.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like no longer, and I think that's why all of the, you know, these key points when we're talking about distractions, it's so important to bring them out. So that way, like you said, like you can just knock them out, you know, you can just say, okay, you know, and as we're talking about it, if something, you know, for anyone that's watching, it's like if something is touching you and you're like, gosh, that's what I'm going through, you know what I mean? Then it's you're capable of pinpointing the challenge, and then it's just a time or, you know, a process of removing the distraction, you know. But the next one that I was going to just kind of talk about was, you know, in the society that we live in right now, we're very health conscious, and which is great. Health and wellness is great, but I also think that because I just kind of feel like some people might feel like, oh well, I'm not ready to go and have that time with God, whether it's in the church building or just in your home. Or, you know, reading, whether it's ready to take on that stone. And then it's just kind of like the same saying as like, oh, well, come January 1st is when I'm going to hop on the bandwagon and I'm going to start losing some weight, you know? And it's just the same thing. Like, it can happen right now, you know? So like you can draw closer, build that foundation right now, like right after this video is done, you know. You can just do that. You can draw closer to God. And then the other one is a big one, and it's something that I'm trusting that everybody has experienced, and it's that pride factor. You know, a lot of times we don't want to die to our own flesh. We don't want to sacrifice.
Air quotes.
Air quotes.
Gotta have.
We don't want to sacrifice anything. We don't want to sacrifice going to the bar, or, you know, we don't want to sacrifice.
Like very selfish, prideful. Very, what can you do, kind of a thing.
Can I talk to Lincoln?
Funny thing is, like, if there's certain things that we could omit,
Pizza,
you know, that we, you know, feel like brings us comfort and happiness, when in reality it doesn't. It just fulfills a void. But it's like in removing those things, you know, that you just can't get rid of or not willing to sacrifice, as you begin to chisel it away, you find like, wow, you know, like life is getting better, and I don't miss those things that once brought me comfort, you know, because you have a new means of finding that comfort, and that's in God, you know.
And that kind of, that chisel, here we go with the air quotes, chisel kind of brings me to the next area, which is making sure that we're dedicating time to have, you're going to have to get some. Chiseling out that time, whether, and hopefully you were done kind of on the last area.
Good.
But like chiseling out that time on your calendar. And I know not everyone's going to be a planner. I can speak from experience, the airy fairy in me. But truly, I can speak from experience that whether you use a digital calendar or you like a physical old school calendar, totally all for it, whatever works for you, but really dedicating time, chunks of areas, you know, in your calendar, whether it's the early morning, whether it's during your lunch break or in the late evening, depending on what works for you. Give me one sec.
she's doing that, I'm just going to hop on. And as far as what she's talking about with the not having enough time, I'm just going to hop on and say my example real quick. Just not having enough time. Like, it's funny because, and Jen and I have been talking about this, like, I really felt like I was an ace at time management skills and just how I had things. And I was like, man, I'm so good at this. And then recently I've realized that, like, I know nothing. Time management is okay. Huh?
I wouldn't say you know nothing.
Well, no, I would just like time management, like, it needs to get stepped up. So, you know, I'm taking some, what is the word? Like, I'm taking some new, I always call myself a late bloomer because, like, technology, it's not that technology is not my friend.
It's not like a grandma, like, I'm late to the smartphone.
Yep. Late to everything. I'm late to the tech party.
How do we use this thing? We're going to have a one-on-one like, again.
What happens? But yeah, I mean, it's just like I'm recognizing that, like, all of those things out there now, so I don't want to say vital, but like really make your life a whole heck of a lot easier, especially when you've got so many things to do. So right. Jenna was going to talk about time management and how that ties in with getting closer and how you fit that into your day.
Right. So thank you for reeling it back. So
you got
the way that I like to think of it, whether it's a digital calendar or your actual calendars, and Adi's got me really good with this, is I like to color coordinate my calendar. You may or may not like that idea, but as an example, Adi and I like to get up early in the morning, typically anywhere from 4 to 5 a.m. And we dedicate anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, whether it's devotional time, whether it's you're reading the Bible, whether you're doing prayer and meditation, just really dedicating your initial wake up time and not yet getting onto any electronics, but dedicating a certain time of day that works well for you and your schedule and if you have a family or not, that works well for you. Because I think if you're super exhausted in the morning and you're not a morning bird, maybe you're a night owl and that might work for you. But I think really starting the day out with this fresh perspective and good intention and setting the intention for the day makes a world of a difference. So I'm an advocate for the morning, and I believe you are too.
Yes. Well, and I feel too, like, it's the same thing, like, again, thinking about like exercise, you know, some people, they like to do it early in the morning because that energizes their body and really just gets them invigorated. So it's like, think of it as a spiritual exercise that you're doing for yourself because you are setting yourself up for success. And again, like Jenna was saying, our preference is to wake up early in the morning and start our day that way. But I mean, some, like you said, some people are not, you know, they're not morning people, you know, they like you said, they might be night owls. So it's whatever works, but it is important. Just as like Jenna had created this great, it was 7, it was the holistic circle, right?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like this.
So just going back to that.
Wheel of life.
Yeah, the wheel of life. So it's like, just thinking of it in that aspect, that is a piece of the wheel of life. So it's like, if you want to kind of if you want to be a whole person,
exactly,
essentially, then that is a key factor in being a whole person when you're, you know, tying in the whole wheel of life.
I love that you brought that up real quick, Adi. I love that you brought that up because it's so true. And can you not? And I know we talked about this before. You can totally feel when your wheel of life is off balance and maybe you've over-focused in one area. Like I know sometimes I get into like total work mode and I might forget to like exercise and do the spiritual side. So then I just feel totally off balance and not kind of at peace and very like less worrying, more praying, like just totally, what is the word I'm looking for? Just like, does that explain it? But you get what I'm saying. You can totally feel when
I totally get what I'm saying.
Center.
Yes. Yes.
You got to get
like I feel got to get it together. I feel recently, like we recently moved into we moved into a new house, And I have been feeling that way. So it's like exercise ain't happening. My exercise right now is just carrying boxes where they need to go
I feel like we
and
all moved
carrying
together,
dressers. Yeah.
even though I wasn't.
Yeah, so we totally did.
Yep. Virtually moved.
Experience shared by all.
And that kind of brings us up. I know you were going to talk about, and I held up my cell phone.
I'm so crazy.
Are you there? I thought our internet was going to go. I'm like,
yeah, I'm here.
Not again. But I was going to say that, okay, so we talked about you feeling good about the.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. So that brings us into like not only dedicating the time, but then also knowing what else is going to distract you, like the cell phone, the laptops.
Mm-hmm.
So not only is that distracting to, you know, your family time, but also taking you away from time building that deeper relationship with God, because you might be sidetracked with phone calls and apps and alerts and notifications. So one tip today is you can totally just turn off your notifications on the cell phone, which is, I read somewhere and I started that. It's amazing. You might miss some messages, but you.
I felt like when she did that, I lost a friend.
I was like, who am I? Nobody's messaging me, but really they were all just hidden. So you have to figure out what works for you, but that has been helping me stay on track and not get distracted when it comes to the cell phone. And I know we even talked about TV. I'm not much of a TV person. I know you aren't either. There's like a few shows that you like, but I know for some people, like the TV is a big one. So I think dedicating that time and knowing like, if I open my laptop, I might get distracted. So like just dedicating that, whatever, 10, 15, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever works for your schedule, and knowing that that's like your time.
Right. And I also, with that, you know, we all have 24 hours in a day. It's just how we manage that 24 hours, you know, so there is definite time for relationship building, drawing closer to God, and creating that foundation. But like you were saying, it's just like, there's this other app that I like. It's called Time Tune. And it really just helps you. Yeah, it's a good one because it helps you map out your whole day. And then you can see where there's holes in your day that you were like, oh my God, I had no idea. And as we're going through our day, we have no idea. You know, as women, it's like we're just doing, we're just going. It doesn't matter. We're just flowing.
Real quick on that, what is the benefit, and educate me here, on Time Tune versus like a regular calendar doing it color coded?
So I like Time Tune because, let me see if I can pull it up on my cell phone.
I'm curious.
Like you can, I just like it because like I have my calendar, like this is my calendar. See? You probably can't see it.
Oh, right.
Probably can't see it. So, Time Tune, I like if I can find it because here it goes. So I haven't updated it, but like it tells you, hold on. So, okay. Essentially what it does is you can go through like in 15-minute increments, or you can like do whatever time. So like, again, for me, starting, so from 4 to 4:30, that's my time with God. Just move about your day. And then you can color code it. You can put different little emojis on it. And then I like it because it alerts you. And like sometimes, like I think one day I put in like, go to bed, you know, because again, I'm just going. And it was like 10 o'clock and my phone chimed and it was like, go to sleep. Yeah. So I'm like, it's 10 o'clock, you know, because I'm not looking at the time.
Right.
So that is great when we're thinking about better time management and tying that into that foundation with God and looking for the time. Really, that's essentially what it's all about. Another thing that we're drawing to a close. So for whoever is watching, we're only down to like a couple more little bullet points. But another good thing that I wanted to touch on was as far as, you know, what distracts us or what could potentially keep us away from that relationship with God is is tying in with that pride, but it's also what they feel that they need to sacrifice as far as like material possessions. And maybe that also ties in with like the cell phone, the TV, and things like that. Obviously, we're not saying throw them away, but it's just minimizing those items so that you can maximize something that is greater than TV and whatever else that is kind of blocking your time and your growth.
And I love that you mentioned that, because the one word that comes to mind is awareness. I think the more that you and I talk about it, and now that we are, bringing this to a larger platform, it's when we're communicating it to others, it's also throughout our day, we need to be aware of, like, I'm about to open my laptop. I'm probably going to get sidetracked from my 30 minutes this morning with God, So I need to decide, let me complete this and stay focused before I move on to the next task. So I think it's the awareness of, am I going to get sidetracked, or am I staying on track, whether it's your time with God or just any other areas of life as well with that.
Right. Yeah. And that's it. It's like, it's any other area of life. These distractions, not only do they take you away from, that personal time that you dedicate to increasing or enhancing your relationship with God, but those distractions take you away from other things that are priceless. If you do have a family, or whatever you love, or whatever ignites your passion, those little minute or screen time or whatever, it is all relative. And I know that we're talking a lot because the topic tonight is about building that closer relationship with God, but these distractions can filter into other areas, and really can just pull you down, and not enhance you sometimes. Okay, so we talked about, you did touch a little bit on the purpose-driven life for kids, and then also a little bit for adults, but I know that we had mentioned to each other that just to kind of help the listeners or the watchers out there, as far as giving them, what's the word I'm looking for, just like
resources?
A little bit of a head start. Yeah, resources. Thank you.
Yeah, so I, through family, I was provided with an app. It's called YouVersion. I believe it's YOU version. Is that right, Audie?
Version. Yep. And it's like one word.
YouVersion,
kind of, right?
Yep. I know I spelled it wrong on the app thing at first. So in there, the cool thing is that within this app, that you don't have to lug around your Bible per se, but there's a variety of different versions of the Bible. There's also easy access daily devotionals that you can save on your phone. You could share through social media. You can even get daily alerts and emails, which is fantastic. And the other cool thing I know you and I really like is the devotional plan. So whether any area of your life, there's a devotional plan, anywhere from 3, 5, 7 days. And every day you read like a scripture, you read the devotional, and one other little thing in there. And it's been beneficial to have as another resource. So that might be a great kind of starter. And then I know you and I have bounced around, and we'll even have to create on the website an area that maybe we can have our favorite or some top maybe devotionals for women. I think that would be a great idea, just to kind of give some resources in addition to the YouVersion that might be beneficial to kind of get them jump started, or other fresh ideas.
It's a good idea. Another thing that I like personally about the YouVersion app is, first of all, that you can essentially take it anywhere. So it's flexible, meaning that when we're talking about that, carving out time to build that relationship with God, you can utilize your screen time appropriately or positively. Whip out, your phone or your tablet, whip it out, and hop onto that YouVersion app, because whenever I like to use it, whenever I really like a verse, and I can just highlight it, and then you can just type in a comment or a note to self. So it's really user friendly. But yeah, I mean, essentially tonight we really just wanted to create this first video as a foundation to many more videos to come But we wanted to just allow you guys to hop into our typical conversations, and all of the, you know, the comedy and all of the unscripted stuff that happens.
Life does not have to be
But
super serious. That's our motto.
Super fun. It's super fun. So yeah, I mean, essentially we shared about how, you know, we draw close to God and what works for us, but we would absolutely love, for whoever is watching or whoever will be watching later. Yep. Comment. And that way we want to create that dialogue. Comment down below. Create that dialogue so that way we can really just kind of help each other, you know.
Do I sound like my kids when I say, subscribe to our channel down below? You can like.
No, I think you have to say subscribe. Subscribe to my channel.
To my channel. Or like it or share it.
So I think that pretty much wraps it up for our first video.
Thanks so much for watching. We hope to see you. We will see you all back here, same time, same place, next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Bye.
Good night.